Recently, my friend, I had one of the most interesting opportunities available. Uh, some young people, kind of friends of the family, sort of. And I had the chance to sit and to talk. And I realized, based upon their young age, in their 20s, it surprised me, but they knew really nothing about anything involving Israel, Iran, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Gaza, Palestinians, nothing. They knew some of the names, but they didn't really know anything about it. So I had the unique opportunity of starting from scratch by saying, okay, let me take you to the beginning point and let me give you the story that will be the foundation of your understanding, and then we'll build on it. It's like making a sauce, like a bechamel first, and then you add some stuff, and then you layer it, and you make it more complex, and you build the flavors. But you got to start somewhere. And it was fascinating because I said, well, let's start with history. And the first thing I told him was, remember Tolstoy's line. This is the most, I quote this every single day in one form or another. I said, remember, history would be a wonderful thing if only it were true. Whose history? Whose? Who? Whose history are we talking about? Israeli history? Palestinian history? Egyptian? What? Whose point of view? Where do you start from? There is no good guy, bad guy, because the bad guys think they're the good guys and vice versa. And it was one of the most fascinating exercises because I got the chance to start from scratch and not only teach, I guess that's pretty presumptuous, but not only to teach this case, but war and politics in general. My friends, as the world wonders, what the hell is going on now? What has Iran done? Are we in it? Now we learned that we helped knock down some of these drones. What perchance is the next move? So stand by, dear friends. Get ready. Let me ask, as I always do, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're still subscribed because for some reason I find that people tell me they're unsubscribed. I don't know why, but they are. Please like this video. Like is so important. We need your likes. It helps build a great algorithm base. And also make sure you hit that little bell so you're always notified of live streams and new videos. But before we begin, tomorrow ends one of the best deals ever that I so want you to take advantage of now. And it's from our good friends at preparewithlionel.com. It's no longer a question of if something is coming, it's when. The only shock, the what, the how. While you still have some control, what are you going to do about it? Well, the first step is to go to my website at preparewithlionel.com. The next step is stocking up on multiple one-week emergency food kits from My Patriot Supply. Priced at under $50, now's the time to buy in bulk. My Patriot Supply is equipped to help you prepare. They've helped over 2 million families already. These one-week kits with ready-hour foods provide over 2,000 calories every day. And they're sealed inside a rugged ammo can so they can last to up to 25 years in storage. So just grab it and go in emergencies. Get these kits for under $50 this week only at preparewithlionel.com. That's preparewithlionel.com. I've always loved my friends explaining the perspective, explaining history, explaining the reality, really understanding it, okay? Really. And the first rule you must understand. I think it was, who was it? Hiram Johnson or some of the senators, I believe, who said the first casualty of war is the truth. And the first thing you hear, dear friends, is 99% of the drones were intercepted. 99% of the drones were intercepted. A complete and total and unmitigated failure, ostensibly. I think that's the message. A complete and total failure on the part of Iran. 99% of the entire these sorties intercepted. A waste of time, a pinprick, if anything. Do you believe this? First question, do you believe this? Do you believe? What do you believe? Who is telling you what? How do you know the truth? How do you find out who's telling the truth? Very simple. Rule number 1. You must absolutely start off every single time by triangulating. First, understand this premise too. The news is not the news. The news is what they want you to believe. That's the news. The news isn't real. It doesn't stand for anything. It's what they want you to believe. That's the thing which is the most important. That's the most critical. That's the thing. So it's not what's true. It's what they want you to believe. It's what they want you to understand. So you start off with a place that says, okay, let me go to see let's go to the Jerusalem Post. Let's look at New York Times. Let's look at CNN. Why? They will verify and basically support the Biden perspective, right? Biden is playing a very cheeky game. We'll explain it to you. Basically, pro-Israel, go to Jerusalem Post, go to, you know where it is, go to MSDNC, go to whatever, go to Fox News. See, there's no light between these two. This is what's scary. Go to Breitbart, it doesn't matter. National Review, they're all the same. 100% in lockstep with Israel. Fine. And I'm only telling you what the truth is. Listen to, and I was listening today to Al Jazeera, or like RT has some great stuff. I listened to Weon, first post. There are a lot of other. I want to hear from the group of people who was it? Press TV used to be Iranian. I want to see what are they saying. And then from those two, you triangulate. It's like binocular vision. You take this side and you take this side and you put them together and you see depth. So that's what you need. And it's basically two sides. You could say three, but not really. It's basically one side, that'll do it. You put them together. Remember the GIF viewfinder? You take this side, you take that side, you put it together, and then you have depth. So you understand what's going on here. Then you sit back. Okay. Remember, you're analyzing this. You're not picking the side you like, you're analyzing this. Now, how do you explain it? Where do we start? Let me give you a terrible example, but it makes sense. And this is the one I used the other day, which got a bunch of laugh from these young people who had never been talked to before by an adult who could be, I guess, their grandfather, I guess. But in any event. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're walking outside and you step in a pile of dog shit. And you say, what's this? And I say to you, one of the most important elements of any form of animal biological system is the ability to take food, assimilate it, process it, pull from it nutrients, minerals, and the like, recompact it into a form for expulsion through a peristaltic ejection and egesta or fecal matter. And you would say, wait a minute, stop it. What is it? I meant What did I step in? Oh, you stepped in shit. I thought you meant, no, I don't want the history. No. Something very simple. Well, you stepped in it. You should have looked where you're going. Yeah, but what? Isn't there a law? Let's talk about, shouldn't there be laws against this? Now we're into that area. Think about something. Something as simple as talking in dog uh, do turns into, well, what level do you want to talk about it? Do you want to know what it is? Do you want to know why people let dogs do this? Do you want to understand what's the best way to remove this? You know that no matter how much you scrape and you go inside, believe me, they're going to say, hey, what's going on here? You cannot remove this. And then we'll talk about, well, why is that particular scent so repulsive to people? It goes back to the fact that nature does not want these animals to reconsume it, because coprophagia, the eating of such, is to be eschewed, and chewing is eschewed. So you see where I'm going with this? I can take something as simple as that, and I can think, what the history of it? You want to know why? You want to know what the smell is? What do you want to know? Something as simple as stepping in a pile of dog crap. I can go into 50 different directions. What would you like? What would satisfy you? You might find the history of digestion interesting. You might say, that's really, I never thought about this. Or I can also use how this has been a symbol of fertilization and the gods and fecundity. And you might say, I never knew this. Thank you. Or you might say, this guy's out of his mind. He's talking about, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. You see? You see? That's what this is. Where would you like to start? Where would you like to start? Let's go down to the basics of this. What is it? Where do you want to begin? Why man fight? Why mankind fights? Why this? Why now? Would you like to understand the Iranian Persian mentality? Would you like to explain Sunni versus Shia? Would you like to understand what? What is it? Does it go back to Operation Ajax and Mossadegh? Is that it? Is it about our allegiance, our joined at the hip allegiance to Israel? Are we being pulled into the war? What was the point of the retaliation? This appears to be not only a pinprick, it seems to be nothing. Why was that? How did Israel think that you can attack a consulate in Damascus? Let's talk about that. This is inviolate. My dear friends, Julian Assange was in the Ecuadorian embassy or whatever it was for how many years? Did anybody think about attacking the Ecuadorian embassy? He was like this. He was inside, and we said, okay, can't touch it. Why? Because that's sovereign. That's an act of war. You don't do that. We didn't do that. Think about that. We hold so. We wanted that son of a bitch. Not me, not I, not you, but our government. We wanted that son of a bitch so fast, and we didn't touch that embassy. But Israel says, "Oh, where's that? In Damascus? Watch this. Get out of the way." Boom. You can't do that. Well, we did it. What? Why isn't anybody addressing it? Because we're Israel. That's it. That's the way they view it. And you know what? Unless given another excuse, that seems to be like, well, do you want to explain this? No, not really. Why? Because you guys are terrorists, and F you. And that's the way it goes. In 1984, there was some incident at, I think there was a Libyan, was it the Libyan embassy or whatever in London? And there was this guy shooting from inside the embassy. They didn't storm it. You can't do that. You don't do that. It's we were so crazy. We had this rule, interestingly enough, we had this rule that we thought everybody's going to be safe in Tehran at the embassy because the rules are you can't, you're safe. That's American soil. Really? Yeah. And it's true. The Iranians were right. We were using it as basically a spy situation. So what are we talking about? What was the purpose of this? What was the purpose of this? Who benefited from this? Israel's thinking, this is nothing. And Iran, again, unless this is the collective information, Iran supposedly said, well, here's the deal with this. We're pretty much done. So that's it. So don't get any crazy ideas of retaliation. You got it? Don't get any crazy ideas of retaliation because we are not going to tolerate this. That's it. We're done. So we're kind of through. Okay? So we're done. We are done. Really? You think that's it? Yep, that's it. We're done. We're finished. We're done. Okay. Well, we're not necessarily done. Well, we're done. We've had enough. We showed you. F you. We're done. Now, America, US, it's funny, we always go from America to US. We sent, which is fascinating, we sent or involved ourselves in engaging some of these drones. By the way, these are called loitering kamikaze drones, loitering munitions, kamikaze. I guess a kamikaze is, I don't even know what it means. It flies in and you sacrifice the drone, but it's called a loitering munition. It just kind of hangs around and then does the attack and that sort of thing. Edie Crowley says, how often do the oppressed become oppressors? That's a great question. You can see it at very levels, very different levels. Edie. You can see the oppressed rebel against their oppressor. You can see the oppressed attack citizens within the country who are it's a fascinating question. And I love that. Now, there's another so right now we have this story. This has been going on forever. We have an expression, as you know, dear friends, especially if you're not from the United States. Here's a word. Because I'm going to give you, if you want to learn how to speak American, you got to learn some slang. And one of them is the term hard on. Hard on's a big term for the boys downtown. Whenever you hear people say like, hey, this guy's a real hard on, okay, versus the actual, tumescence itself. But the other one is when you have a fixation towards someone. Whenever you're focused, exclusively focused on somebody, say you got a hard on for this guy. This is like, Ahab and the white whale. You good. And Iran has been it has been, Israel has, remember when they had the centrifuges? Remember that Stuxnet? Remember this was kind of funny in a way. Not funny, but they sent in this virus or something into the system where all of a sudden their centrifuges were going the wrong way and it ruined everything. Iran can have nuclear. Here, let me ask you a question. Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. Israel does. Well, they're not supposed to. They didn't say it officially, but everybody's got nuclear weapons. Iran, you can't have nuclear weapons. Why is that? Please tell me why. Now, it may be a good idea. It may be a good idea. Maybe a great idea. Listen, had Ukraine not given us weapons back, we wouldn't be having a Ukraine problem, which is kind of interesting. Do you think that Victoria Nuland and the NATO crew were so smart as to say, give the weapons back, then attack the Russians or threaten them, and then we'll have to come in because they can't fight back because they gave away their nuclear weapons? Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of sapience and sagacity, Sparky writes, was Iran exposing locations of Iron Dome components with the drones to ID targets for an upcoming serious missile attack while depleting the Iron Dome? Oh, Sparky. I read something to that effect today, my dear friend, and I thank you. And the first thing is, whenever a government denies something, that's the idea. That's the idea. Do you folks remember? Do you remember how when you were a radio crank, how you would use up delay? Delay is like Iron Dome. Delay is that 7 second thing. Delay is that 7 second cushion that allows the talk radio person to dump you if you drop an F-bomb or whatever it is, right? That's the whole idea. So what you do is you would want to eat up the delay. You knew you could drop an F-bomb during whenever they were going live to traffic, because when you were on the phone, if what you heard on the phone was what was coming out of the radio, delay was off. Then you could do or just bombard them, because or you could have them depleted. You could call up and say, "Yeah, you know what? I went to my doctor. Can I give you his name? Dr. Lawrence. And his address is, can I give a phone number around 84? Because they would hit these. And then once you would hear the delay on the radio start to sequence back to that which you hear on the phone, and there's no delay. So through that long roundabout metaphor, Sparky is onto something. Draw the defense out. Where are they? Where is Iron Dome? Okay, you got it? Got it. They're there. Okay, because I don't know anything about Iron Dome, if it's mobile, if it's who knows. Maybe this was it was very kind of tepid. And then Iran says, okay, that's it. Thank you. We're done now. Have a nice day. We got all of our data. I don't know. But Sparky, the issue also subsumed under the various labels is Israel has to explain what happened to its reputation before, that apparently was either LIHOP, no, not MIHOP, but either they let October the 7th happen, as some suspect, or they really were caught off guard. And how come, Sparky? How come they knew that the drones were coming hours before? They didn't even, they fired them up and they said, we expect the drones at any moment. Like, damn, we haven't even, come on. Please, let me at least get it airborne. And you're already announcing it? For crying. Is there a mole here? Oh, there's a mole. All right. Is there a mole? Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a mole. Okay. Well, that's not a good thing. No, it's not a good thing, but that's the way that is, my friends. That's the way that is. And it is a fascinating story. So we're looking at this. So we have, starting off, whose news is it? Why did it happen? What's the point? Why did Israel pull in? We got Soleimani. Why? How do we do this? Trump is, remember this? Remember they identified the ring? Who are we to, we hit people with hellfire? I don't understand why that didn't constitute some type of war. What are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do? That's provocation. You don't kill one person with the hellfire and go, now what are you going to do? Okay. What do you think would happen if all of a sudden, oh, before I forget, there's a new wonderful storyline that's being portrayed. And it's that Anthony Blinken is behind all this. It's the mastermind. Anthony Blinken is behind this. Really? Oh, yes. Anthony Blinken. He's the mastermind behind this. Really? Oh, yes. Anthony Blinken. Yes. Anthony Blinken. He's behind everything. Did you see when they had to fly Biden back from Rehoboth Beach or wherever it was? Biden saying, "What am I going? What do I have to go by? You gotta show up. You gotta pretend like you're in charge, but I'm not in charge. It doesn't matter whether you're in charge. You gotta show it. We have an election coming up, you schmuck, and the election is 205 days away. So we're gonna bring your ass back to the White House so you can sit around, and then we'll take you back so you can watch Matlock in your room, Have a nice little lunch on your TV tray. You can watch Golden Girls, but you got to act like you're a president because there's a goddamn election coming up. You got that? Raul Rodriguez says Noriega escaped the U.S. by entering the Panamanian embassy. He surrendered when the U.S. surrounded the embassy with speakers playing rock music. Well, that's also that. Yeah, by the way, what music would you play? What would you play? I'm thinking anything by Bjork or Yoko Ono, maybe the early stuff. Very avant-garde. Very avant-garde. So this is where we are, my friends. Now remember one thing. Let me tell you this. It's all going to be forgotten. It's all going to be forgotten. It's all going to be forgotten. Where's Kate Middleton? Whatever happened to the bridge accident in Baltimore? It's gone. We're not talking about it. Sparky says Ukraine never had their own nuclear weapons. Ones there were always Moscow controlled. It's like saying West Germany had their own Pershing. If missiles, because the U.S. Army once had them in West Germany. Mearsheimer, by the way, and thank you for that. Mearsheimer actually said too. He said Ukraine should not turn back. This is very interesting. The case of a Ukrainian nuclear deterrent. Let me see this. It was very interesting. I saw this the other day, and I'm going back and watching. This was Mearsheimer before. It's very interesting. I'm going to go back and I'm going to read the storyline because, dear Sparky, the idea was that there was this notion called dismantling, return. But follow me this way. Let's assume, and that's a very good, and you've inspired me to research this today, and I appreciate it. Not that I'm not taking your word for it, but I love to research and go back. And everything's there at your iPad or your phone level. You can learn a lot from this. What if I were to tell you that it was important for there to be what appeared to be Ukraine being unprotected, which would somehow make a Putin perceived invasion, which it was not, because it was, as we all know, goaded, provoked, red line category. Everybody knew it would happen. Everybody said this from Kissinger to you name it. But it could not have happened. It could not have happened had there been at least the perception that Ukraine was able to pose this part. And the theory is that Russia would not have supposedly advanced upon something that was able to retaliate. Sparky says Pershing 2 missiles, not Pershing F. Oh, I'm sorry. I like the Pershing F. I like it. It's like the name depends. Depends. This undergarment for adults to be used and effective 100% of the time is called depends, which I think is so interesting, so fascinating. So, my friends, this is where we are right now, and this is where this beautiful cacophony, this wonderful melange, this beautiful storyline, how it develops. Now, stand by one more time, my friends, because I told you our commitment to one of our favorite, one of our favorite, if not the most favorite, Mike Lindell, our dear friend from MyPillow.com. Still, everybody, I've got my bolsters. The bolsters are you're able to almost like custom control your neck. We are a My Pillow family before we ever engage in any type of sponsorship deal with them. And you will be a My Pillow family too. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, or MyPillow.com/Lionel. Listen. Well, it's time yet again to hail and salute our great friends at MyPillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you get a free gift. No purchase necessary. I know, a free gift. Gifts are free. Okay, it's a tautology, so sue me. But listen to me and listen carefully. What are we talking about here? Down comforters, flannel sheets, Giza Dream bed sheets, My Pillow 2.0 body pillows, waffle blankets, couch and recliner pillows, sheets, slippers, percales. I'm not even done yet. Towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, pet blankets, bolster pillows, name it. Items to help you luxuriate and relax. And their monster sellers, slippers, my slippers, slip-ons, moccasins. Think about it. What do they do at My Pillow? What's their main goal? To make things real soft, plush, real comfy, or comfy as I say it. How perfect. So here's the link right now. Go to mypillow.com/Lionel. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel or /Lionel, or call 800-645-4965. 800-645-4965. And watch how fast our good friend Mike Lindell answers the phone. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, simply and absolutely the best. My dear friend, a great point in from doing just some cursory, perfunctory, and surface level investigation. Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons in 1994 after signing the Trilateral Statement, which agreed to transfer them to Russia for elimination. Ukraine had previously acquired 1,900 Soviet strategic nuclear warheads, 2,650 to 4,200 Soviet tactical nuclear weapons, about 176 Soviet ICBMs, and 44 strategic bombers when it gained independence in 1991. However, Ukraine never had, and this is what Sparky says, never had operational control of the weapons, and all were removed to Russia in exchange for security assurances from Russia, the United States, and the United Kingdom. Russia has maintained operational control of the nuclear weapons and its weapon systems and controls the launch sequencing. Fascinating. So yet, John Mearsheimer says, oh, Raul says, my bad. Noriega was inside the Vatican embassy. Don't you love when people make corrections regarding situations that nobody would have thought in the first place? Isn't that something? Don't you love the fact that, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean Pershing. I meant Pershing too. What brilliance do we have among our listenership when we can make that form of clarification? I ask you. Mearsheimer said, though, that he would have advised against it, that had this not happened, irrespective, we would not be where we are today. Now, the bottom line is simply this, dear friend. What happens next? What happens and where do we go next? And what do you think is the end run? Where does all of this end? Well, excuse me. If people do not care about it, nothing will happen. Americans don't care. Americans simply do not care about this. It's like, oh, that's interesting. We'll watch a bit. Oh, look at that. The Iron Dome. You see the Temple Dome. Oh, that's interesting. And then next, remember the old Scud missiles? Yeah, okay. Did you ever see the famous UFO Fox News where this light takes off above the temple or the dome, and nobody said anything about it? Anyway, Americans will forget the whole thing. Americans won't care. Americans will not be involved in any of this in the immediate future because of the fact that, frankly, we're too busy. We are too busy, and we don't have time to be concerned with things such as this. We just don't. We don't have time. We're busy. I asked the question of the day, hey, where's Kate Middleton? And people, of course, have to answer. They feel this reflex to answer. I say, you don't know. That's the point of it. No, no, no. Kate Middleton is no, you don't know. No, no, no. Wait, I do know. No, you don't know. You don't know where she is. Stop pretending you know because you don't. And nobody knows, and that's the whole point of this. Nobody knows where she is. She's just gone. She's just gone. How can this be? They lost her. She's just not mentioned. She's not mentioned. Our good friend Ms. Lawrence says normal people care. Well, don't confuse yourself with a normie, but you're right. Normal people do care, and thank you. They do care. But Ms. Lauren, I mentioned before, anybody talking about the Baltimore Bridge? No. Anybody talking about the renaming at the bit? No. Where's Booty Giggity Giggity? Nowhere. Did you ever find out what happened to that sniper in Las Vegas? No. Remember, 3 days. 3 days. All stories, all news stories of interest are good for 3 days. And then you forget about them. It doesn't matter. It's done. It's finished. We move on. Americans don't care about this. Americans have no idea. And when it comes to Israel, Americans have been habituated to this because they go, yeah, well, that's they've always had that thing, that Israel stuff. And it's Arafat. Yeah, I know. And there always be. What are you gonna do? I don't know. And then they move on. Americans don't care about this. Americans don't even care about the election. It's Sunday today. Nobody cares. I don't know if there's any sports on. Who? It's back to the sports again. Again, the sport. But the latest trope, the latest one is that Anthony Blinken is responsible for this. Anthony Blinken is about, please stop it. Anthony Blinken is not responsible for anything. Madam Stamp, ladies and gentlemen, so kindly enters the fray. Why is the U.S. intercepting drones when the Iron Dome exists? With the sling of David as a backup, it appears the U.S. is not needed. My military knowledge is lacking. Well, madam, a couple of things, and thank you. First, maybe Iron Dome and other particular defensive operational systems are bullshit. Maybe, could be. That's an option. Probably not, but could be. Number two, the United States wants to be involved, but really isn't, but likes to say it is. Or number three, it's really part of the idea that we're reminding the world we've got Iran's back. If let me tell you how this would end tomorrow. If the U.S. said, and I'm not necessarily advocating this, but this is a mathematical certainty. If the U.S. said, "Listen, you're on your own, Israel. From now on, the whole world, Ukraine, Israel, you're on your own. We don't have our own. We got problems here. That's it. We'll be with you in spirit." The world, everything would change dramatically. People, countries that might have been uh, invaded would be invaded. We can argue where those would be. Countries would become less aggressive. Some would be more. It's a fascinating take. We are responsible. If I back you up, if I say, listen, I'm your bodyguard. You go into that bar and I got your back. You can go up to anybody you want, say whatever you want, and they know they've got me and my team behind you. Take that away. And logic, mathematically, you are significantly reduced in terms of your defensive capabilities. And then you know what hits the fan. Ms. Lawrence says, Lionel, I'm terrified because they are trying to start a nuclear war, the globalists, and yeah, where is Kate Middleton? Ms. Lauren, I thank you. They are the reason. Not only are they trying to start a nuclear war, but they are involved in something which is very, very frightening, and that is the idea. Believe it or not, there are a lot of, dare we say, Christian Zionists and the like, who believe that the end of times, and this is not a joke, this is not an exaggeration, but the end of times will occur when this Armageddon-like conflagration right there will signal, perhaps through nuclear collapse, holocaust, conflagration, whatever you want to call it, where the Messiah, where Christ will rejoin us on these earthly endeavors. Do you hear what I'm saying? I mean, how nuts is that? How crazy is that? It's exactly what we're talking about. That is exactly what we are talking about. Think about the implications of that. Think about what it means to have people actually suggest that it might be a good idea to precipitate this form of lunacy because maybe the end of times eschatological uh the real sayonara will take us to the next level. What some Christians, not all, but what some have been waiting for since the beginning, a chance to reunite, to meet again, to see to it, to accelerate perhaps God's and the Bible's prophecy. Think that sounds nuts? You don't know religion. You don't understand it. You don't understand the power of religion and the power of faith. And I do. I recognize it. I understand it completely. And by the way, be not mistaken. What we're talking about right here, this is not about religion. This is not about religion. Just like the troubles in Ireland were not about Catholics versus Protestants. They might have said that. They might have believed it, but it was not about that. It was territory, jurisdiction, law, treatment. And this has been, there are factions within Israel. You call them right wing, that whole directional thing, but there is an overwhelming, if you believe the statistics, an overwhelming support of this. And let's get going. And the only problem that some people have had with Bibi Netanyahu is, let's get going, and you're not doing this fast enough. So think about that. Here's a question. Where's Bibi's son? He's in Miami. Isn't that something? And I forget how much he's got, as you can imagine, security detail. He's not in Israel. He's in Miami. I'm out of here. Don't expect me. I'm sure. Why he's exempt from military? I don't know anything about this, but I believe he's exempt from military service. He's too old at this point. But there's a lot of folks. There's a lot of dissatisfaction with Bibi. And also, remember something. It would take time for you to understand. You have to live among the people to really grasp the way they feel. You have to live among the participants to really understand what they feel. Edie Crowley says the book of Revelation is read like a roadmap. Yes. And Edie, it's read by some people as a not as a roadmap, but as a predictor. This is a menu. It's coming. This is the buffet. We're at the wedding. This is what we're getting. This is what we're getting. This is the story. You understand that? This is the story. So what we have right now, which is very, very interesting, is something which is, remember, by tomorrow, Americans don't care about this. Ms. Lawrence said, Lionel, I do actually believe that it is the rapture amongst many of the people, but I do not understand all the garbage. I mean, it's crazy. It is. Well, here is the thing. It comes down to simply this. Now you got to ask yourself the question. What does Iran have to do with Israel? They're not even connected. I could see Gaza. I could see whatever. Iran, the Palestinian. You have to understand this, of course, is a long story because their proxy. You see, once you are told, let me explain something to you. It's very, very simple. If I said to you that the worst scourge in the world today, the biggest threat to international peace are the Houthis. You go, who? The Houthis. Put on Fox News, the Houthis, apparently, and the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. The Houthis, and within half a day, you are saying, bomb those bastards. I don't know who they are. I don't know if it's a Houthi. Isn't that the Houthis and the Hottentots? I don't know who they are. But America will be seething with a rage and this homicidal fury to eliminate the Houthis if we give the signal that that's the bad guy. Sparky says, your boys, Bolton and Pompeo, are Christian Zionists. Oh, yes. Boy, you are really good, Sparky, with your pronunciation. I don't know if they are as much as, or if they are MIC, military industrial complex war profiteers, neocons. They do kind of coincide with that. I would also venture to say that most people, I could take you to Times Square. We could walk, it's not far from here, and we can offer $1,000 to say, give me a working definition of Zionism. Give me just approximate what it means. If you watch a lot of the interesting platforms, I was listening to a great piece from Glenn Greenwald. There's one, of course, Judge Knapp, Mearsheimer, Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, even Katie Halbert. Go down the list. And that's just here. Then, of course, there's others as well, and Finkelstein and Breaking Points and the Rising, and just, I mean, it is absolutely, without a doubt, they are committed. There is a commitment, a strong commitment among the young, among a lot of, I guess, erstwhile progressives, not in favor per se, but and you might want to say anti-Israel or pro-Palestinian. Ms. Laura says, my German said that it's Soros. My German said that it's Soros, and that group there upset Trump. They want to start all the trouble. They want the world war. Well, let me ask you something. Let me give you one rule. This is one of Lionel's rules. Remember this rule. If you, and by the way, Lauren, thank you. If you mention a name, it's not that person. If you mention a name, if you say Soros, it's not Soros. Soros loves being the lead guy. I don't know how Soros is doing in terms of his age. By the way, have you seen pictures of Clint Eastwood? Oh, he's what, 93? I mean, bless his heart. Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman together, unrecognizable. It's incredible to see. I mean, it's called age. It's one of those things. You can't get around it, but it's really something. I think Soros is overplayed. I think it's an admixture. Guess who? It's a good time right now to have defense stock. It's a good time. Watch the numbers. Forget Bitcoin. Put your money in whoever they are. I don't want to say the wrong one. Raytheon or there are different groups of people. One, you have pure profiteering, war hawks and the like. Number two, you have the neocon, the real. I don't know if they exist as much. Maybe, Victoria Newland's as close to it as possible. And by the way, she's not out of the picture. They just moved her out. She's still there. She, Kagan, Newland, the whole Institute for the Study of War, your buddy, General Jack, whatever his name is. He's just, these are war. These are people who present you. Who was it? Hearst, who says, give me the pictures, I'll give you the war. They'll give you the war. They will give you the war, and they will justify it in ways you never even thought possible. So we have different factions, it's not just one. It's not just Soros one's one. Why is this making money? What I'm so fascinated about is how the BRICS leadership is so quiet. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, everybody's like, okay. Egypt, don't you have anything to say about this? Nope. What's going on here? What's really happening? Because the official story is nonsense. What's happening here? Where is this going? Who is pretending that there's some, I don't, it's hard because I can give you so many different potential hypotheses, you'll sound like a complete and total lunatic. But remember, anything you say is possible. Anything you say, any scenario, anything is beyond possible. Anything. Remember that. Okay, dear friends. It's a beautiful day finally in New York City today. Ms. Lauren, thank you so much. Sparky, as usual, sir. Excellent, excellent points. Edie Crowley, you were terrific. Madam Stamp, thank you, dear lady, for your kindness as well. Ms. Lauren, I think I said Raul Rodriguez, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your beneficence. And Edie Crowley, of course, I don't know if I said this before. Thank you for your artwork, for your love, for your beauty of soul. It's so funny. I don't know what any of you look like. I see either a thumbnail that is so tiny or caricatured, or I have no idea, and I don't know. Andy Carmen will always be the letter A. Looks like one of those health department ratings here in New York. He got a letter A. All right, dear friends, dear glorious wonderful friends, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Please make sure you are subscribed. Did you see my review? I'm going to do some more on our good friend. And I don't know why. Joy Reid, it gives me such pleasure just to dissect the lunacy of this fine gal who is doing the best she can, given the limited resources that her position has provided. And also, we'll talk about this. We'll meet at 7 p.m. Thank you for your gloriousness. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors, dear friends. And until we meet again, remember these words, this valedictory, this sayonara, this adios. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.